correct. It's only Tuesday. I know you thought I was going to say it's Friday, but it's only Tuesday. But I'm still with my friends, Fiona, Aboud, BitSavage, and today we've got our friend InfoRemix. Super excited to introduce you to our friend and some of his really exciting projects. First and foremost, let's start with the introductions. My name is Maxximillian. I've been putting art on the blockchain, art and music, since 2021. And I am a huge, huge advocate for self custody of things that artists create. I feel like it's really important that we own our own platform. I feel like it's super important that we be the source of the materials and also the controller of said materials. So I feel like it's really important to, as an artist, control where are we placing the things that we create. So for this reason, I've been putting art on the blockchain, Tezos blockchain, Polygon blockchain, Ethereum blockchain, Base, Bitcoin network. I mean, I'm trying to be in all the places. I mean, is there some blockchain I'm not on? Yes, there are. Okay. And there's reasons for that. But we are a blockchain agnostic group, generally speaking. Personally feel like blockchains are like people. They each have their own superpower, and some blockchains are better than others for certain things. So, that being said, if you hear us focusing on a particular blockchain, if we're hot on Bitcoin, hot on Ethereum, hot on Base, I'm super hot on Base, I'm so Base, it doesn't mean that other blockchains aren't spectacular. They're all good for different reasons. So, that being said, let's get on with the art simping. This is art simp because, I'm sympathetic to these highly technical art projects. Really want to dive into the tech and show you we're not just making pretty pictures. There's more to crypto art. There's infrastructure, deep thought, storytelling, and so much more. But my friends have come together to help me tell these stories. So, first and foremost, let me introduce my friends. And we'll start with the longest friends first. The longest friends first. And that would be my friend BitSavage. He's the friend that I've known the longest. And then Fiona. And then we'll come to my newest friend, InfoRemix, who we call Info. BitSavage, are you there? Okay, then we'll go, go to Fiona. Hey, Fiona, can you hear me?
Hi, yes. Should I introduce myself? Okay.
I would love that.
Hi, my name is Fiona Aboud. I am a Brazilian American artist and photographer and activist, and I make um, I make art on the blockchain. But I also am very passionate about social impact on the blockchain and using the different mechanisms that we have in blockchain to help support social impact projects. And I currently am running a open call for artists about minting identity, about minting uh, our, about sovereign identity. This idea that we can put our own stories on the blockchain. In this particular open call, it's on Bitcoin because Bitcoin is the most decentralized of the blockchains. The idea is that sort of push back against centralized control, trying to control our stories, trying to control our narratives, trying to control our access. So I'm very passionate about this, and I highly encourage artists, even non-artists, people that just want to put their history down on the blockchain. And we have an amazing panel of judges. Maxximillian is one of them. We have an amazing sponsor. BitSavage is our sponsor. And so we are really excited. Our deadline for now is the 24th, although I might extend it. And yeah, please, it's the pinned tweet on my Twitter, which is just my name, Fiona Aboud. And please share and enter. And there is a prize, 3 prizes, 400 each. And then you also get the chance to exhibit in Florence, Italy. So that's me.
Exhibit where?
In Firenze, Italia. It's a digital art festival that's happening in Florence. And yeah, it should be really good. They reserved all these like old, uh, I don't know, palazzos or whatever they are. Italy. They know how to do it there. And the whole theory is like Florence was the birthplace of the Renaissance, and crypto art is the Renaissance of digital art, which I agree with, especially from my perspective, the social impact perspective, the ability to record immutable stories on the blockchain, distribute funds on the blockchain. There's countless uses that I could go into, but that's for another space.
Or perhaps just a little bit later on this one. I love how passionate you are about uh, making sure that every human on the planet has access to something that operates like a bank account, even if it's better than a bank account. And I think that's essentially, it's very important that everyone have access to currency. So I'm really proud of you. I'm so proud to be a part of your initiative, and very excited to see the entries. Like, I can't wait. Sometimes when I go in spaces, people ask me, what keeps you up at night? Now it's this positive thing, like, ooh, it's
Um,
gonna come in.
Thank you, Maximilian. I really appreciate you and adore you. You know that.
I do, and I thank you. I thank you. I'm so proud of you. It's really important to be able to do uh, work that is meaningful and that delights you and the world. And let's see if BitSavage has come back. BitSavage, are you back? Can you introduce yourself?
You hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, let's go.
All right, let me set my phone up. Here we go. Did it work? Um, is it working now?
I can hear you, but I can't see you, but that's okay. Go ahead and introduce yourself, whatever works.
Is it working? Hello?
I can hear you.
Test one.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Come on.
Oh
For some reason.
no. Okay, I'm gonna send this Savage a text and tell him that
Hello?
I can hear it. Hold on a
Hello?
second, everyone. Hold on. I think this is exactly why we have this really cool setting
Is it working? Hello?
for random.
Ah,
Bit Savage, we can
I'm
hear
trying to
you.
talk. Oh,
Okay. Ooh, okay. All right. Let me send him a text real quick, everyone.
No worry.
InfoRemix, if you don't mind, go ahead and introduce yourself.
I don't have a nice intro like yours. Well practiced script. I just go on live. I'm my name is Menlo, but I go by InfoRemix. That's my gamer tag. I'm a designer in Orange County, California, and but I'm originally from Hong Kong, so like a third culture kid. Been living in US for the past 20 years, so I'm Californian basically, and I'm a self-taught artist, and but I haven't been exploring digital art since COVID. So during that time, been experimenting digital art. I've been pushing ever since. So excited to talk about more, and pleased to meet you all.
So good to have you here. And I see we got Bit Savage back. Hey,
so,
gotcha
you
back.
know, what happened was I couldn't hear anything. It's just glitched on me.
No, no worries. I totally know how it is. We can hear you. So anyway, go ahead and introduce yourself.
All right, what up, everybody? It's BitSavage. Shout out to Maxximillian. Thanks for having this space. Info Remix, Fiona in the building. I'm glad to be here. It's Monday. It's not Monday.
Tuesday. I already know. It's been a
Told you
crazy week.
I had a double dream. Like my dream last night was crazy. So I'm getting my bearings. I don't know if you ever had a double dream, but it's wild.
Are you talking about the
So
kind of dream where you wake up and you're still inside the dream? You go to sleep in a dream and you wake up in the dream? Is that what you're talking about?
so I thought I woke up this morning, but
You're
I
in
feel like I
a
was
dream.
still in a dream. Then I woke up again. I was like, what is going on? Because
That's a
I did my
wizardry.
normal
Oh,
I did my normal routine. I checked the clock. I started my day. I was like, oh. And then I woke up again. I was like, I must be really awake right now. So trippy. I was tripping. Back. So
amazing.
I am a creator. Been and I advocate, for Web3, blockchain. The signs are getting very clear. We can see everything that's going on right now, and it's just I feel like it's the universe telling people to say, hey, listen, you could choose how you want to do. you can take control, you can monetize, you can maximize, and there's tools here. There's a lot of tools here to enhance your lifestyle, your quality of life. So I'm excited to do more art, inspire others, actually just empower others to tell their story, share their stories, feel good and comfortable being who they are, being authentic, and being comfortable being themselves. So glad I'm here. Love talking about remix. I feel like everything is a remix. And oh yeah, so I am the founder creator of Adores. It's a platform we started on, I want to say, Ethereum and base chain. So definitely in my mind, being chain agnostic will be the play. I feel like also Web 2 and Web 3 will have to marry. People just emails, getting used to accounts, wallets. But I feel like it's fun. It's fun learning about all of this. Some people are intimidated, and that's okay too. Life's not easy. I'm telling you, if you're on Earth, it's not easy. It's life is a stretching outside your comfort zone. So I'm ready to talk today. So on the doors right now, focus on ordinals, art on Bitcoin. You can. This is the mother chain where you can archive your works, you can sell your works, you can experiment and present different concepts. Yes, I'm a visual artist, but also I do music, lyrics, poems, fashion design, now coding because of virtual intelligence, coding different concepts. So we're in a period, I feel like, of mass experimentation. Just keep experimenting, having fun. And if you don't like something you see, then step up and do something. You can be a complainer, a victim, or you can be an innovator, a pioneer, and a victor, or you can be victorious. So that's my words. Let's get it started.
Love it. Love your passion as always. So, today, I thought we would start off with something that I saw on InfoRemix's website. So I know InfoRemix champions the idea that everything is a remix, that we should steal ethically though, and mutate gracefully those things which we've stolen, right? Especially in the crypto art scene. I want to talk about, what does it mean to steal gracefully? How do we steal ethically? How do we remix ethically? What about when the artist is still living? How do we create works that are actually not derivatives, but that are inspired by without ripping off another artist? All of these questions, these are all nuanced perspectives that I'm sure we each have our own different perspective. And so I wanted to start off with asking InfoRemix, you know, is this the next evolution in crypto art? Remixing everything on chain. And what are your general philosophies about how do we remix? How do we go about remixing things gracefully? What's the right way to do it? And then we'll go round robin, and the other hosts, if you would share your insights. Info
Yeah.
remix, take it away.
That phrase I didn't originally come from. I watched a video by Kirby Ferguson. Everything is a remix from that video, and I kind of get that idea. But mutate gracefully is my line. But I use that as a gamer tag, and here I am. I think there's no better way to do it on chain, and the way that you remix and you can able to be incentivize what you produce and people able to remix. I think is how you align what you create and people able to use it, but allowing the seller able to list out all the component and anybody can mix it, but they can get paid. I think blockchain has a better way to show your footprint on what you've been created, and that's my 2 cents. 2 sets, yeah.
That's your two sets, huh? That's pretty funny. So well, hopefully we'll get BitSavage coming back there. Fiona, what is your take on this topic of how do we remix gracefully? Do you feel like we should be remixing? Is everything a remix? That's a question too. Like, do you feel that way that everything's a remix?
I have a controversial opinion on this. I think that all art, all art from the beginning of time is a remix. Because think of it, the cave people put their paintings up, and then, you know, the art that came after it was referencing that and redoing that, and then the art that came after, I mean, sure, you have advances in technology, in execution, and then you also have developments in terms of like what is actually considered art. Like modernity sort of created this allowance for expanding the notions of what's considered art. But there is definitely a fine line between completely just cut and paste and maybe not ascribing a new meaning to art, or like recreating it in a way that offers something new to the viewer, and a way to do it where you are offering something new, you're offering a new perspective, a new opinion, you're having a conversation with the art that came before you, as opposed to just like, oh, look, here's a cool Basquiat crown. Oh, I love, I mean, NFT world is sort of known for being the ultimate Basquiat remix playground, or X Copy, or but X Copy's whole brand is also this idea of remixing. So I really feel like everything is a remix, and it's a matter of taste, a matter of subjective opinion on whether or not that remix is successful or unsuccessful. And there's also this controversy as like it doesn't even matter to an extent, because what you like, what I like, it's going to be totally different. This piece right here that I have framed in my studio is I did it during COVID. It's screenshots from someone's story on Instagram, and I asked for permission to remix it and tell her story in one image. You can't see it, but there's some text in there, and it's multiple pictures about this one artist's journey through some difficult domestic violence issues that she was having. And I remixed it with my own voice, with my own take on what she had been through, and we collaborated. I prefer remixing with consent, because that's just my personal desire. I don't want to feel like I'm taking advantage of anybody. I mean, obviously sometimes someone might feel like I am just without me trying, but within terms to art, within terms to my models, in terms of relationships I have with other artists, I always like to be intentional about my remixing.
Fiona, you bring to point to a really important aspect of remixing, which is permission. That's super interesting. Hey, BitSavage, nice to see you back. So Fiona was just sharing her insights about is everything a remix, and she was sharing that when she remixes something like the image that's to the right behind her, it's something that she does with permission. And I was just saying, oh, how important it is to get permission. He doesn't like to ask for permission. That's why he's like, I'm done with this conversation already. Maxximillian, you bore me. Get out of here with your permission. Just kidding. But yeah, I think that's really interesting and a very important element, if an artist is living or not, to get permission. Otherwise, it's a derivative work, and
it's kind of
nothing that
vibing the Picasso line, right? Great artist still. And how do you get the essence? And the key is the intent. You're building something in a way that you transform it. It's not just blindly grabbing, right? I think the one that the great one is seeing what's underneath, and then you take the essence to get inspired. So I think it's a matter of kind of unique twist that you can bring to the table, a fresh eye, fresh perspective. Otherwise, what's the point?
Well, that's the thing that I think Fiona is speaking to, is about doing something with intention, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's the difference also in the way something is received. I think I can think of plenty of times where I've seen something and I've recognized it as another person's work. That's not the kind of remixing that I genuinely appreciate, unless it's like satirical and it's like making a statement where then it's important, or it's intended for you to recognize this is another person's work because the statement of this new artwork is a commentary directly on that work, and that falls into like satire, and that's totally even like permissible. But then there's like another kind of thing where someone is like copy pasting your style. And I've seen this a lot with my work too. I don't really appreciate it, especially with all the AI tools. It's very easy these days to copy paste another person's style. But that only can take a person so far, because I can explain all the things I do. I can show you where my style comes from. I can show you old pictures of me with skulls. I can show you like old things or whatever. Like skulls isn't like something I'm just grabbing onto because it's hot right now. Like it's actually a part of my story. I use a lot of oceans and mermaid things in my storytelling. Why? Well, because I got swept away by a giant wave when I was a toddler, and I got pulled out to sea and almost drowned in the ocean. So like I'm not just on mermaid shit because mermaid shit is hot. It's actually a part of my origin story. So you know what I'm saying? Like I can go deep with my skulls and my skeletons and all of the things that I do. And when it comes to like even style, like my personal art style, I love shiny things that are made of metal and gold and stuff. Why? Why? Because when I was a little girl, I used to watch my uncle restore classic cars. So I can, even like my car collection that's coming out, like it points back to something that is deeply and uniquely identifiably me. Even the robots, that comes from my fascination with cars and machines. My love for guns and weapons goes back to my fascination with cars and machines. So I feel like, when someone is stealing, you know, a person who steals, if they don't transform it into something that's uniquely theirs, good luck selling that shit. You know what I'm saying? Uh, it's not going to have necessarily the same depth as say another artist who steals. And I think it's really quite interesting. I think, let's see if we can get.
Maximilian, I think you're speaking to something really important. Whereas, as artists, we're very influenced by the things we see, by the things we grow up with, the experiences that we have. But then we need to develop our style, work on our own voice enough that at the end of the day, if I see a piece and I'm like, oh, that's, Maximilian's, or I mean, not all of your work needs to be in the same vein, but I think there is an important aspect to like developing this technique that I have here. It's taken me years and years and years of making work. And that's one of the things I like to say with artists, you can't be creative without creating. So even if you feel blocked, which we all do, everyone, hey, Bordo Saka. Even if you feel blocked, even if you're frustrated or whatever, just creating and you find your voice, like you work through the problem by creating.
Absolutely. I want to give a shout out to our friends who are joining us this GM. I see our friend Bordo Saka in the hills. Hello, Bordo Saka. It's so good to see you. Uh, love to see you. And hi, good to see you. And I want to say a shout out to Hartwell. We got Hartwell in the house. Mwah! Elegant baddie. My gosh, I cannot wait to see you. I have seen Hartwell last seen at Art Basel. Last seen at Art Basel. Hoping to see her again soon. And also, we got a big GM from Nancy Kilmer, one of our favorite artists in the space. Love you so much, Nancy. Thank you for joining us this GM. And don't forget, when you're watching us on the live stream, you're also a part of the show. And, I can put your comments up here. I can put your questions up here. I can read your questions aloud. So don't feel like you can't participate. If you have a comment, I'm only too happy to read it aloud. And if you want to come and join us on the stage, if you can, send me a DM. Looking forward to hearing your points from your own mouth. You're always welcome to join us. And we've got some more words here from our friend Bordo Saka, who I know is on his way shortly to NFT Paris. So got to give a shout out to our friend Bordo Saka. Oui, oui, mon
Woohoo!
ami. Yeah.
Bon
So
voyage, Bordo Saka.
bon voyage, my friend. So
Enjoy.
let me ask, when it comes to this conversation of borrowing and stealing art, where do you draw the line between originality, satire, and piracy? What's the line for you? When is it remix and when is it piracy?
I think
If
so. How do you?
somebody, yeah, like if somebody, let me rephrase it even a little bit finer. If somebody was new in the space and they said, hey, uh, they had some idea, right? They say, I want to, do X, X, X. This is some idea that I want to do. You know, is it okay for me to do this? And their idea involves using another person's work, right? How do you define the difference between a remix of something and when is it piracy? When is it just straight up a rip off? And when is it like, okay, they're doing something new?
Can
I'll go first if
I?
nobody.
Okay.
You want to go first? If do you have an
Oh,
answer? If you do,
I was just gonna quickly say, I think fundamentally at the core of that is the why. Like, why are you picking this art to redo? To like, what are you adding to the conversation? Are you against it? Are you for it? Do you want to emphasize what they're working on? What are you adding to it? Or are you just like, oh my god, I love this style so much, I just want to copy it and make it mine? Like what is your why? Like that's
we laugh because we don't want to cry, but that's a lot
no,
of
but
times.
listen, I mean, there's constant examples throughout history, art history, where artists were like, "Oh my God, that bro Picasso, he's really killing it in the art scene, and I love his whole like crazy women faces and structures, and I just want to do the same thing."
We
And
know it happened. It definitely happened. Of course, he had his haters and stuff. Oh, I can do that. I can do that, right?
but he was remixing African masks, and
Yeah.
he had he had his own reasons or his own fascination, so he was also remixing. He wasn't so original. Sure, he was very famous, he had a lot of followers, he had a large platform, and he had a lot of success in his lifetime, which a lot of artists do not have. But yeah, see, nothing is original, in my opinion. Nothing is original, everything is a remix. Oh no, we lost BitSavage again. Where'd he go?
I know he'll be back. He's dipping in and out of the matrix. But yeah, that's so interesting what you said, that he was remixing African masks. Whoa. See, that's the Gelfa that we all needed. That's so interesting. Now that you say that, it seems obvious, but it never occurred to me before because I didn't look so deeply into it. I didn't ask myself about his why. And I think that's really important and interesting. The why does matter. Why are you remixing this? So for me, I think the clear markers of when it's not piracy, that means the artist has added a unique, um, the artist has added something unique to the artwork. So for example, using myself for example, like skeletons and skulls or whatever, like obviously I'm not the first artist to like use skeletons and skulls as a subject. Even the crypto space, some of my favorite friends use skeletons and skulls. A shout out to Mike Nash. When I think of skeletons, I think of Mike Nash first. But yeah, so like, my skeletons though, I usually I embed diamonds in my skeletons and my skulls. They have bones that are made from gold. So, if you see a Maxximillian skeleton or skull, it's got diamonds and it's got camera eyes. It's like part skeleton, part robot. It's got, gold etchings in it. So, I've added something. I'm not just putting skeletons in a bar. There's skeletons wearing Gucci in a bar. Okay. So, I'm bringing them to life and telling my unique story. So I feel like, is the artist adding something unique from themselves? I'm from Los Angeles. I'm a musician. I really gravitate toward like hip hop and like more ostentatious fashion. And so I do work that into, the characters that I create as well. So I feel like that's like not piracy. You're adding some unique element of your own. I think that's really important. And then also the format, is the artist who's remixing changing the format? So like if someone is inspired by Basquiat, maybe they're inspired by that style, but instead of painting as Basquiat did, maybe they are a sculptor, and so they're creating their Basquiat style artwork in 3D format, which is something that's different. Even and my point is like even through choosing a different medium, we can be imparting our own unique vision on what something is doing. So I think that's something to consider.
I think it's also kind of vibe with the mutate gracefully part. You have to put in
Yeah.
your effort to push the bar. I think you have seen samples that are just they just copy and paste and then change a little bit, right? What's the effort?
Yeah.
And then it sells better than the original artist. That kind of got pissed from some people, right?
Yeah.
So I think that is the irony of how the market responds to these kind of criminal events.
Yeah, it is. It definitely is. And it's funny too. It's like sometimes you have the original artist and then the copycat monetizes it better, and that's always feels like a tragedy. But hey,
I think that's why the IP on the chain, you establish your provenance, and hopefully you can open source your serve or your code, and you
yeah.
can let people remix your style and you got paid. I think that would be less harshness on that particular topics.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So now you brought up ownership, and it reminds me, we were nervous for a while. Those of us using AI were nervous for a while as the Copyright Office was acting like they didn't want to acknowledge the human role in creating with AI. And so I was really relieved to see not that long ago that the Copyright Office has declared, as we figured that they would, that if we edit or you know, uh, alter something that we created with AI, that humans can go ahead and have the copyright on something that we created with AI. So I think that's really unique and important. Um, so, when it comes to using different tools like AI, uh, tools that result in augmented reality, and just like totally like new genres and versions, new experiences, like if you create a virtual world, and spatial, like we're literally creating like totally new experiences of art that haven't existed before. Um, how do you feel that these things are elevating or could elevate daily life for art collectors and for artists? I mean, beyond creating pretty pictures.
Fiona?
I'm giving other people space to speak because I spoke a lot already.
Sure. I have some thought on this one, where the VR experience is more like a guided tour. You
Mm.
can present in a way that I cannot go to whatever big museum to plan out it's a lot of big effort to put an exhibition, right? But you can find a virtual space and kind of like a few others. You can plan your environment and have a private tour for the collector and present your work certain ways. Um, but you're asking for VR experience, right?
I mean, like, it could be virtual reality or augmented reality or like any of the technologies that integrate with the new experience.
What I
You
see
know,
is the full scale sculpture. When you mount that thing in there, you can see how big that sculpture can be. The real size sense of massive sculpture I can experience. I think that's a cool way that you can walk around and then interact with it. I think it's the immersive things that I don't think any VR experience has. I mean, it's getting there. Uh,
ah,
and in intention of the AR is, I was thinking like the other day, why don't we have more um, history class, mount that historical event on the actual site, so when the tour student go to a field trip, they can really experience what's historical facts on that location. Even though I'm sure Airbnb should do this, like advertise certain spot that you can get that real footage mount on that space to just experience that. So
that's really interesting. I mean, oh wow. Okay, wizard moment. I'm about to go full wizard on you guys. All right. But it is said that every reality is happening at the same time, right? And that past, present, and future are all happening right now. And reincarnation, all the different people that you'll become, all the different people that you have been, it's all happening right now in this moment. And that reality is like this pen, and all the different lives are like papers stuck on top of it, right? And so essentially, the world that you just described, the experience that you just described, Info, with being able to walk around and then actually see events that took place in the physical area where you're standing, it would be the equivalent of being able to see the Akashic records all around you in real time. Can you imagine? Like, even like right now. So right now I'm in the desert in the west of the United States of America. So like, and this area where I am at is like very new. Like this whole neighborhood, I think probably like 10 years ago, there was no houses at all where I am. At the end of the street, there's like a big mountain, uh, and it's pretty wild. So I'm imagining if I was to look around and see all those things, I would just see a bunch of animals fighting, and some cowboys, I don't know, like it would just be really phenomenal to see all that. Um, it might be a bit overwhelming, but you just gave me a vision into the future because, as a content creator, I create augmented reality experiences. And I use technology like eighth wall, over the reality. Um, you know, there's a lot of really useful technology that can help us create these experiences that are pinned to a geographical place. And and in the future, I see creators earning income from this. Imagine yourself as a person and you're creating an experience like everywhere you go, you go to a park or even a parking lot, and maybe you see something you're inspired to like build around it, right? Just like so when I was a child, one of the games that I played with my mom, and we still play when we're together sometimes on a good cloudy day, when you look at a cloud and you go, I see a dragon. You say, do you see the dragon? And you make it. So in life, sometimes it's like that too, right? Where maybe you see the shape of a building and you could create something in augmented reality, or you could create something in virtual reality and leave it there for other people to experience. Just imagine, right? So this is all still so nascent, but in the future, I imagine that the things that people are creating today will be monetizable soon and in the future. I believe that people will want that experience that you described, InfoRemix. I believe that people will want to walk down their block and see all the things. I mean, just imagine, and we could do this now, right? So like, what if you move into a new city? You want people to know you're there, right? No, I'm an artist, so I guess what I would do is I would put up an artwork at each of the different like art supply stores, right? Maxximillian is here. You know what I'm saying? And the other artists can, the other artists who have the NFT, right? They got the Maxximillian NFT, they can lock in and they can see all the places maybe that I've been, right? So this is like kind of my vision of like how I see, the combination of intellectual property ownership and virtual reality and augmented reality coming together to elevate our daily experiences. And I know this might sound like who cares, right? However, if you look at it, if you like zoom out, like if like I think about when I think about technology, I really try to think about applications for daily life, even as like creative things, even just like little nuanced things. Like just imagine, what if you go to like Whole Foods or some coffee shop every day for coffee, right? What if some friend or some different people could like left a message there for you to just find when you show up? Like these are the kind of experiences that we can like build into like our everyday experiences. These little uh, like breadcrumbs that we can leave for each other of encouragement or love. If you think about how sometimes people, so there's an Airbnb that I've been to before, and lots of people do this where there's like a drawer at the Airbnb where everyone's invited to leave a little note for the next people that stay there. And you open the drawer and there's like all the notes from all the people that ever stayed there. Have you ever seen this? No? Fiona, you've seen it?
In the Airbnb?
Yeah,
Yes,
it's cool, right?
I've seen it. I've seen it in notebook form too. It's cool. It's like little traces of existence. Um,
Yeah.
can I add something to the VR
Yes, please.
conversation?
Yeah.
Okay. My favorite thing about VR, and this is just me from looking at it from like a global perspective, is the access that it allows people that, I'm in New York. I'm so lucky. I can go to the Met and see like a million different masterpieces. But I the community that I've worked with in Brazil, I gave them a VR headset that I was barely using it. So I'm like, let me give this to someone who actually is going to use it and benefit from it. Now they can go to the Louvre, they can go to the Met, they can go to other VR realities where
the pyramid in Egypt.
Yeah, I mean, literally anything that's there, they can go and see. And, some of them might not be able to travel to a different place to see art. And the fact that that access is open, it's been remixed in VR. I mean, yes, okay, it's maybe not the same as seeing the paint, the textures of the paint. It'll obviously get better, but that virtual representation is better than nothing. And that access, like, I'm a big fan of, like, if you give people access, like the teach a man to fish, or give a man a fish, he'll eat for a day, teach a man a fish, eat for a lifetime, that kind of thing. Like, people are really self-determined, and just because they are growing up in an area without access to a lot of information or what have you, doesn't mean that they don't want it. And people figure out a way to make things happen. Like, like, when there's a will, there really is a way. And that's one of the reasons why crypto is so popping in areas of the world where people don't have as much access, because they can't trust their currency as much. Their government does absolutely nothing for them, and they really have to be independent, and they have to figure out a way with something that works, something that is they can have access to, they can control their access to, they can iterate on, they can learn, they can sell NFTs. And actually, I'm doing this, not to bring AI into this, but I'm doing this.
Oh, definitely
Workshop.
bring AI into
Okay,
it. Bring
all
it
right.
on in. Bring it on in. That's part of the whole conversation, is like, how is AI like elevating our experience more than just creating pretty pictures? And, I'm a huge fan of AI. So anytime you want to drop AI straight into the conversation, definitely do that.
Give a person a fish and you got issues. I love Fort Osaka. So sorry. So backtracking. So I'm working right now on building my own AI agent that will, for instance, this community, if let's say, 10 of their teenagers are making NFTs and selling NFTs, if we built up a community that a certain percentage of that sale went to an automated market maker bot, AI bot, that would use the volatility of crypto to then further increase that bag. And then to, the protocol that I've worked with before does like a UBI distribution in that community. And then that money can keep on multiplying and keep growing and keep on feeding that community. And it becomes a self-sustainable loop of income for them. And it's just using market forces that everybody from Wall Street to us to is using to make money. And it's just a creative application using using this. It's kind of a remix of technology, if you want to look at it, or a remix of the application of art sales, I would say. So anyway, that's just something I shouldn't say that. I'm gonna see if this week will be successful, because I'm a highly technical person. I have a lot of helpers, and I have GPT. GPT is my bestie on this, baby.
I believe in you.
My my left brain is like, okay, the gerbil on the wheel is like,
Hey, it's really exciting, and it's an exciting time.
yes, it is an exciting time. I would never be able to do it without Mateos Pagani, who I can't recommend him enough. He does all of these like onboarding and education seminars through Dabble and Build City and Ethereum Foundation. He's awesome. If anyone wants to be connected with him and the whole team that he has going on, he's from Brazil too. Yay!
Oh my gosh, amazing. That'd be wonderful. I feel like it's important to link in with different communities because even though it's often uncomfortable, I just want to acknowledge sometimes friends and communities, we can outgrow each other. So it's important to always be establishing new connections, and it's always important to be establishing new relationships, right? So that you can expand in those new directions. What are you laughing about, girl?
Bordo Saka.
Yeah, he's so
He's
insightful.
so supportive and loving. Mwah! Big kiss. Bon voyage, mon ami.
Straight up. Let me see if we got BitSavage back. BitSavage, are you with us? Hmm. Okay, I'm not sure. Um, all right, let's just leave him here. And so hopefully he can join us again. So AI
There's two
agents.
extra point that I want to add on
Oh, okay,
elevating. Just
okay,
before we jump on to the next one
okay.
is so important to imagine that family tree, your footprint, is part of the
Mm-hmm.
history, and then your
Mm,
offspring can able to trace back, all the little footage that how you
mm-hmm.
inscribe or put it into the blockchain. So, and it's kind of the family heritage play into that, and also switch back to the AR. I think Netflix should listen to this, where whatever show they produce, there should be intention onto that space that you develop digitally, and let the viewer customer to play with it. Imagine you shoot the Friends show or the episode, or you're gonna create a sitcom. You create that environment, let people cruise around and play that footage, and you can experience what's that living room like, so to speak. I think that would be nice to intention of your digital assets for the show. You're able to have people experience into the space, especially with all this technology, AI, so easily to create the environment to be more immersive.
Mm-hmm.
So I hope they're
Yeah,
listening to this.
well, I don't know about Netflix, but I'm doing that with my shows.
Yeah.
Yeah, the idea is that you can watch the show, but you can also go into the immersive space and like go into the rooms and open the drawers and look in their closet and see what's in there. I mean, how many characters from television would you like to just walk around their house and just look inside of, all of everything? So that's
I want to go
definitely.
to the making a murder scene, uh,
Oh,
and see
yeah.
what the intricate placement, how they haven't solved the place, and have the agent really dig into the space and find out all the clues in it, right? Like,
Yeah. Absolutely. Those are my favorite kind of experiences, that the interactive ones. And I feel like, that's kind of touching on the elevation as well as like, art that's interactive. And I like to create interactive art. And I like to create dynamic art. And I want to give a shout out to Transient Labs. Shout out to Transient Labs for being so leading the forefront in the art world. I really love Transient Labs dynamic art engine, and I love the Transient Labs smart contract because they allow me to create dynamic art. That means that when you get a Maxximillian token, it's usually a multi-token, which means that you have multiple assets that you own. So when I create interactive art, it's not going to just always do the same thing a month from now or a few months from now or a year from now, but doing something totally different. It's my way to stay connected to the artwork and to keep it current. So this is something that I think is interesting, is being able to create something that's interactive. And this is just touching on, Fiona and I are both going to Eat Denver, and we're so super excited about this. And there's other kinds of interactivity where art is concerned too. Things where the art itself is changing based on inputs from things like smart contracts or network activity, this kind of stuff. I have seen so many fascinating pieces where, we're using technology like Chainlink or other oracles to feed real-time data into transformative works of art that continue to move and iterate based on the real-time input that's coming, whether it's as a result of network transactions or tweets on Twitter or any other thing that we can filter in there. It's pretty exciting. So, I wanted to talk, Fiona she was talking about AI agents, and that brings me to my next question, which is, so AI is already generating NFTs, curating collections, negotiating smart contracts. Do you see a role for AI agents as collaborators in the crypto art scene, like for artists or for yourself? Do you feel like AI agency will be the newest disruptor, outpacing human creativity? not that it's something to worry about, but what are some creative ways that you can see AI agents, being used by you or someone like you?
I just want to quickly go back to what Info said about the Netflix, and then someone can respond. I'll respond to that. I really like that idea about the Netflix VR, because not only does it give someone a first person experience, but it makes consumption of media less passive. And it also, there's psychological reasons like why people are into a show, why they're hooked, like why they love the certain characters. Like imagine if you could like chill out with your favorite character and have like a whole freaking conversation. Like how cool would that be? Like, and that really kind of expands our connection to the digital, to the virtual. In terms of AI agents making their own art, I see AI agents as um, humans that don't need food and don't need sleep. No. Okay, to be fair, obviously they're not humans. They're not feeling sentient beings, but they do have a perspective. They are sort of trained on a perspective. They do, like for instance, Cerebro has a very defined style, and
I'm sorry. You have to
oh,
tell people we don't all know
Cerebro
who that is.
Okay, so Cerebro is an AI agent that was created by, I think his name is it Jason Yu or is it Jeffrey Yu? I think it's Jason Yu, and he was he's or I think it's a he tweets on Twitter. His girlfriend was Mika Don't Lose, if you know her. Although I think they broke up. I don't. There's a whole like drama. He tweets a lot. He created his own album, his own music album. He created his own NFT collection, and it's a very interesting. He has a very interesting, unique style. I wish I'd gotten in on his initial drop, but it's okay. Um, and it's a very interesting. He's got a very interesting persona that's developing around him. I would love to collaborate with him. I'd love to um, have like an artistic conversation back and forth with him. I do not see AI agents as threats to artists because we have that technology available to us to use as well. And there's still nothing that replaces the human perspective or the human sensibility. And like you said before, Maxximillian, your own personal experience, like what getting crashed by that wave, like the AI can understand sort of what that experience might be like based on recounts from people on the internet, but they don't know firsthand like that emotional, that fear that you had as a kid. So I don't think that they can really impart that sort of depth of emotion, maybe in their work. I don't know, because art can be an emotional experience for some people, but there is something to be said for the way that they're creating art, and if that resonates with you, if that's something that you like, depends why. If you like it as an investment, if you like it aesthetically, if you like it because it's just a part of history, I think it's fine. And I'm one of these artists. I am not afraid of AI. I don't think it's going to replace us. I don't think that that there's any fear in AI replacing human artists. People said that about photography, like, oh, photography, it's gonna replace painting, and has it? No, it really hasn't. So I do not fear AI at all.
Wow, that's interesting. Photography replacing painting. It's so funny. Like every new like creative genre goes through this period of backlash. That's so interesting that you bring that up. And I didn't even think about the backlash photographers faced when they came with their fancy new machines, and they must have looked so crazy. Um, wow. Yeah, Fiona, I love that perspective. I share your feelings too, with regard to AI. I feel like it's definitely actually, you know what? I'm just going to say it the way I always do, because I feel like when I say it this way, it seems to be succinct and impactful, which is AI is a part of the evolution of humanity. I think the more that people recognize this fact, the faster and better life will be. AI is an evolution of humanity. AI was created by humans, or was it? So that humans can get our time back, because you have people doing things that people don't need to do. Think about all the different people working in factories, right? Machines can do it better, and it will be safer. Lots of accidents happen from humans doing work that is better suited to machines. So just imagine, just as an exercise, imagine all of the factory workers worldwide, all factories. Imagine all those people are sent home from their factory jobs, not to be homeless or fruitless or feckless, but to do something else with their life in this world. Think of all those hours of human resources that are now available to do other things that only humans can do, like give attention, give love, teach. There's so many things that humans can do. And I mean, those things that I just mentioned are super basic, but just the massive amount of humans that are going to be free from needing to do that kind of work, I think is going to catapult the acknowledgement that there's new kinds of human trainings that need to happen, and that people need to be retaught of the kinds of things that we can do that actually will propel civilization, society, and technology forward. And that includes esoteric things too. So I feel like, AI is definitely a part of human evolution, and it makes me sad to see people fearing it, and I love to see people embracing it.
Now I just have to convince my artist friends that it's not a threat.
Yeah, I mean, if you want, I don't think it's possible to convince people of anything, and I think most of the time people are threatened when they feel like they're not doing all the things that they can do. Like someone who feels they're living at their fullest potential, I don't feel could ever be threatened by technology. I think it's when people are lacking in education or feel that they're lacking in skill that they become afraid.
Yeah, there is this fear of change, right? I mean, think about it, especially as we age, the fear of change is alive. I mean, I had a very stable commercial photography career prior to COVID, and then COVID happened, and I entered this crazy world of NFTs and crypto, and my life changed, and my photography went away, and that change. Sure, it was scary. Sure, my brain feels like exploding, like the exploding emoji. Like every week, I'm like, oh my god, there's 15 more things I need to learn. But that is keeping me like sharp and keeping me uh, evolving, iterating, applying the things I knew before to a new application, and allowing myself to be creative in a whole new way, which I never thought possible. So I'm very grateful for that change, but it is scary, and I understand that fear. It's like am I gonna be uh taken away? Like at NFT Paris 2 years ago, they had a computer painting. It's like, oh, the computer can paint. Why should I pay an artist to paint a picture for me? So anyway.
Different picture, right? Totally different picture. Yeah, super interesting. So I'm curious, InfoRemix, I know you have this project that I'm really looking forward to hearing about. It's called Let's Go. And I wanted to invite you to tell us more about it. Hold on one second. I see. Can you say that again?
Oh, can you hear me? Yes.
Yeah.
Before we chime into the Let Go, I just wanted to have one quick point for AI. I think it's important to have a decentralized AI where act as a bubble filter that I don't expose my data, but it interact with all those big guy there as a shield. It's my personalized, decentralized AI that able hopefully do shopping for me, right? I'm hate shopping. I just want to put out the requirement and go browse all these millions of links and give me back the research, right? Like save me so much time. I can make more art. But
That is so super smart. Everyone, I hope you got that, picked up that gem. He just dropped that gem unceremoniously, but that's a really good one.
It's a alien intelligence. So
Well, we are the aliens after
yeah,
all. We have proof now.
yeah. So I'm done with that point.
Right on.
That's a really
Yes.
good point, Info. Are you using the Venice AI? Is that what you're
Not
using?
yet, but I'm aware he's building some good stuff.
Okay, cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
decentralized and open source is the ideal, in my opinion. Because as we see, I mean, anytime something is centralized, humans are greedy and they like to be in power. And I don't know.
It act as a kind of edge computing, right? Like you're still able to access all these different things, but is a protection shield that it won't expose my privacy, but yet it intelligently do action based on my willingness. I think that's a big part where I'm giving out my all the data that to all these centralized institutions that kind of retarget product to myself versus I don't want to be being forced. So I want to force kind of counterpart to those big players out there.
So tell us about your project. Let's go.
Oh, let's go. Let's go. So basically, this is a series of kind of vector poster art that I made. It began with a little poster I made in 2015. I was just kind of playing off with all this gun violence shit, but using a playfulness. And then I just kind of put it out there and being quiet. But again, during COVID, I kind of picking up some of my old pieces and re-energizing it. And basically, I use Figma day to day to design a website and user interface. And in the meantime, when I'm not doing client work, I just open up Figma and start doing all these kind of illustration. And one thing leads to another. From a poster leads to kind of frame to frame animation. So I just make like different frames and then I just connect them on Figma and export them into animated GIF. And I become a series of little poster that I have fun with. So, and it's going to be on Ordino, and sign up now. I'll give you guys some good incentive for an early adopter.
Right on. Yeah, this is really cool. Can you talk a bit about your project with regard to gun violence? Yeah.
It's just a message sending out that the only thing I can do is just using humor in my art to promote, because there are so many things that out of my control. But using art to express in a humorous way is for me to spread more positive vibe. Don't know much to say. You just have to browse through it.
Right on. Gotcha.
I do love all the titles and description that on each piece. It touch upon not just gun violence, a lot of kind of crypto humor, some of the tokenization, religion. You look funny on top, but you if you browse through it, it have some other kind of messages. If you click next or
So I'm on the main page. So when you say if I click next, you mean like,
I apologize. You can click any one of them. There's an arrow. You can click next. Yeah.
so next? I don't see.
There's an arrow.
Okay, I see.
Yeah. So you can kind of browse through the details onto it.
Yeah, these are really nice. I see these are all one of ones. Pump and dumb. This is great.
Yeah, hopefully you find some humor.
Yeah.
If you like and signed up, hopefully you get the first hand distribution.
Yeah, these are really nice. And did you say these are ordinals or?
I'm planning to inscribe this on PCC chains, and seems ordinal seems the logical way. I still haven't figured out. I want to convert these into code to make it more impact instead of saving into a tiny JPEG or a
Mm-hmm.
tiny gift.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I'm here to make friends with you guys and learn more technical things from BitSavage and the folks
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, I'm sorry that Savage was having some technical difficulties today. I think he was in places where his connection was not strong, and so he was coming in and out. But yeah, we can definitely come back and come together and talk about it. Yeah, I think your idea to create with code is really smart. Um, I put my first collection on Bitcoin in 2023 when my collection went to Art Basel for Miami Art Week and the Nolcha show. And it really was heartbreaking making those beautiful, juicy files really small.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. I mean, it was heartbreaking to see like the degradation of quality. So,
That's why I find like there should be a product where it acts as a bridge. You inscribe a really tiny small piece, right? But that is
yeah.
your key to unlock all the goodies. Or somehow there's a bridge to translate back to that
Yeah,
high res.
But
yeah,
then
I
it's
see.
not inscribed though. It needs to be inscribed. So you have to it's an artistic challenge. I know your art is so juicy and just you just want to smush it and like you just want to get in there and just be all like gushy with it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
save
Those
that
files
so
are big.
you
Those
know
gushy files are big.
yeah, they're big. I mean, listen, I have the same problem. But I think it offers a unique challenge and I think it's different. And I think that we need to just recognize like this way and this is different and like on other chains we can be juicier and bigger and IPSF and all that fun stuff, but Bitcoin is special.
Yeah. I couldn't agree more. And that was like my big lesson when I first put my art on Bitcoin was I must create art especially for this platform. I can't just take the art that I created for Ethereum blockchain and then put it on the Bitcoin platform. Nobody would ever be able to afford it. First of all, it's like too many megabytes. But also, it just wasn't on. And like, yes, I was able to shrink down some of my pieces that I even created especially for Bitcoin. So like, I have an ordinal drop coming up, Pepavaggio. Definitely want to get the Pepavaggio ordinals drop. It is so super fly, right? But the artwork, and I made this artwork especially for this platform. I'm only using like essentially like three colors, but when you have things like shadows, et cetera, it still makes like a multitude. But I created it still for this platform. Still 16 KB compared to the under 4 KB that's ideal. You know, I just can't get it any smaller. You know what I mean? And it is about having it on chain and it is about it being immutable. I love your idea, Info, of having a bridge, where your Bitcoin asset is the key to so much. But again, now we're reliant back on third parties again. And um, it's just not the way, Um, personally, I've been really affected and I felt so held back by platforms. When platforms die, that means us artists have to scramble and figure out some solution, and it sucks. It really sucks. And I never want to go through this again. I can't tell you what a huge time suck it is to have to go back and relaunch a collection because it's on a platform that no longer exists.
Feel your pain.
I mean, that is not the dream they sold us when we signed up for this shit.
Well,
And and
they
it,
sold us.
yeah, we got conned. And
Yeah.
sorry, but it was a con. They're like, your work, it's going to be on the blockchain forever,
Forever.
forever, ever. And then fast forward 2 years, it's like, sorry, but your assets will no longer be available through this UX, and if you don't do this action, you're going to get a gray box where your artworks used to be, and so on. Like, how do you explain that to people who paid, even a few $100s for your artwork 2 years ago? Are they still in the space? Who fucking knows? Do you have their email? Do they check it? Who fucking knows? But what you do know is that your art is turning into a gray box. And, you know, there's nothing you could do about it. I mean, you can push it or whatever like that, but still, like, at some point, something else may happen. It's not ideal. It's not ideal. And we're asking for people to pay their hard-earned money because we're trying to create something that lasts forever. So, when it comes to the bridge idea, you know, the more moving parts you have, that's like the more vulnerabilities for something to break.
Let me elaborate a little more on kind of the product breakdown where the bridge from my concept. I'm still learning all this Ordinal protocol, whatnot, but the idea is you inscribe a code, a line of code where it representing, it can recalibrate the high resolution
You're
of
talking
your.
about recursion? Are you talking about
No, I
recursion?
don't think there's a
Oh,
product out there like that. It's a more technical challenge that those some guys should push it if there's a possibility. It's just you inscribe a line of code where you can use that line of code in physical world to get the high res version. So you're not.
okay. So what is your vision for how this would transpire? You're the collector. You bought a work of art as a Bitcoin ordinal. Now, you want to go and get that high res version. What is your thought process? And then I'll tell you, there is a way to do this now, right? But it still depends. Your high resolution file is still stored in a Web2 place. And that's kind of what I'm saying. It's like, oh, so let me break it down. So like right now, most works on like Ethereum or whatever like that, they're stored using IPFS. Whether people are going through Pinata or Arweave or whatever, it's stored somewhere online, and that place is a Web2 place. It's that hosting is paid for by a company that could any day be sold or go under. Period. You can't get away from that.
Maybe we can simplify it into not like high res images, but because the line of code, if you are breaking down into vector, everything is code. But what I'm saying is not a bridge. You inscribe a compression zip of that thing that you can
Yeah,
extract it
I think what
somehow.
you're talking about, I think what you're talking about is actually there's a word for it. It's called recursion.
Okay.
Okay. And what that is, it would be the equivalent of me taking one of my like murals, like a mural that has like all the different pieces. It has outlines, it has colors, it has fill-ins, it has all these different things. And recursion would be like if actually each individual little shape or little clusters of shapes is its own document. And the code that you're envisioning is written. The code is telling the program where each of these little pieces of color, where each of these little pieces of information goes within a frame to create this whole image.
Yeah.
It's called recursion. This is what we can do. This is how we can get those big intricate images on Bitcoin is through recursion. And
Kind of little tiles of information and
that's
combine the
right.
collage. Yes, I
That's
got it.
right.
But
Okay,
I
that's it.
think the ingenious of whatever that bridge or the extraction is beyond the high res image. It can be a program, a game, or a little more complex, right? But I think it's the same idea. How you compression is intelligent, by Iman. I think if someone can figure it out, there's a huge potential to let other builders to build on top of the idea. But it's good, brainstorming exercise here.
Yeah, for sure. And that's what's so interesting. It's like the technology is so advanced, yet at the same time, there are elements of it that are super not accessible to everyone because, as BitSavage will say, like to work with recursion, basically you need to be a developer or working with a developer. It's not something that with no skills that a person could just jump in and make happen. So I know that there's people trying to make this accessible for everyone, like Gnome, NOME. That's like a new platform for putting art on Bitcoin where, we're trying to make these things more accessible. And I know that also BitSavage, working with the Doors, he also has, some ideas about how to create something like a template or educational series so that more people can have access to this. Because ideally, being forced to work with a developer is a different kind of jail, and we don't want that either. We want to be able to. It's a different kind of jail. It's kind of like, yeah, it's once again, you need someone else to be available to make your thing happen, and we want to get away from that. It's kind of like we want to decentralize creativity. If you still need somebody's help, it's not really free expression. What are your thoughts, Fiona?
Oh, Superfly, you're gonna make your fortune by and by. But if you lose, don't ask no questions why. The only game you know is do or die. Thought I
Exactly.
would. You said that word, and I was like, girl.
Exactly. That's where it is.
But I do have an idea, and it's a little bit old-fashioned. We can also connect our ordinals to physical pieces, which I know, controversial, but it does allow for that juiciness to come through. I think that for me, I'm very old school. I know it seems like I'm so hip, but I'm very old school. Like all my processes are very physical. Like that's a very physical process that I do. None of it. The only digital aspect is the capture, I guess. But and so all of my pieces come with a physical version, even if sometimes I forget to mention it on the minting or inscription, but they do. All of my pieces do because there is this tactileness, this juiciness that you can't get from a digital piece. So I'm looking into recursion now, and it's very interesting. I'm sure somebody will find a way to make it more accessible to artists. But I do also like this challenge of making the work smaller on Bitcoin, even if it's not necessarily what we want our work to look like. It's like you can have different styles for different blockchains. And as someone who has minted on so many platforms, and I don't know where the NFT is anymore, like it disappeared.
Oh!
I mean, that really, I'm like, shoot, like I need to figure this out because I mean, listen, right now I'm minting on Tezos, I'm minting on Ethereum, and I am inscribing on Bitcoin. And I'm doing all three, and it's this I guess I would say I mint different or inscribe different things based on my purpose, my intention, my goal. So I'm not like an exclusive. I don't have an exclusive relationship with the blockchain.
Well, that's good because they're all so sexy. But yeah, I feel the same way. When it comes to putting things on Bitcoin or Ethereum too, like, we can use Bitcoin and Ethereum works as token gated items. So like, if you wanted to use an ordinal that someone bought, you could do that. But it's just it is a totally different game. I feel like the long game is actually inscribing the art on the coin. I think that's just, I don't know. I just prefer that. And I think it has something to do with all the lost art as well and the frustration of that as well. Yeah. Um, Anything that was left unsaid, something that you wanted to discuss that we touched on today that you wanted to circle back to or that we didn't even touch on that you wanted to point to? Oh, and by the way, we got a chime in from Hartwell, and she says, I don't think AI will replace fine artists, but game industry artists need to watch out. Oh, woo! Hartwell coming in with the hot tea. Well,
Interesting. Interesting,
yeah,
Hartwell.
Yeah, you know what? I couldn't agree more. But also, it's the same for our artists. It doesn't really matter if you're a game designer or you're a fine artist. You can be replaced if you don't use AI. And I'm going to say this, even fine artists, think of how you can like 10x, 150x your own creative output, by training models on your own art. You can create a private model and train it on your own art. For myself, like when I think of like murals or when I think of like highly detailed works of art. So for example, I got to give a shout out to my friend Big Comic. Shout out Big Comic, my collector. So Big Comic is the first to collect one of my interactive works of art, and I got to tell you how much it means to me. And I recently updated it, and it's so super cool because so with this interactive work of art that I created for Big Comic, and just he owns it, but you can still play with it. It's called You Are Friend, and it's on Transient Labs. What's cool about it is once you have the artwork up, if you're looking at it on the blockchain, if you touch it, if you tap with your finger and drag, the artwork will start responding to your touch. It'll do something. And I have secret words in my art. I have all kinds of, things. But shout out to Big Comic for collecting that interactive piece. And yeah, I think it's really an exciting time for artwork that does things, that continues to surprise, continues to amaze. And I see that Info, you have also created something interactive. You're working on a Chinese VR poem generator. Tell us about it.
Well, I always find project that I can upgrade my skills. So Unreal is one of the frontier that I want to quote unquote master. I'm a traditional Photoshop guy and been tinkering with some AI tools, but the interactivity is one of those insane high fidelity that I want to achieve. And basically, I'm linking up a curation of words that are going to display in this Newton cradle idea of poem generator. So I will send you a deck for the sneak peek. Watch out. Yeah, hopefully the user are able to interact with this piece. That's the goal. It's not just a... Oh, you can broadcast that?
Totally. Yeah.
Oh, still loading? Should. Oh, I'm seeing some audience there, but it's not showing. Weird.
It's still loading.
Weird.
Well, I mean, to be fair, I am broadcasting. The
That's
load on the internet is really heavy, so it might
maybe
just be
it's
that.
loading.
Yeah, I can hit restart also.
R is the restart.
Info, are you going to East Denver?
Sorry, I'm not this year.
Oh, okay. I have never been. I'm very excited.
Should be fun. A lot of OG there, I think.
I'm gonna do the build camp, and I'm gonna do the build camp and the hackathon. I think. I don't know. I'm gonna try to learn as much as possible. It's gonna be less about art and more about building for me. We'll see.
I think it's equally important because you can make the crazy art, but without those acumen on your plan, business, and networking, it's not amplifying. So
it's true. It's true.
Share what you learn later on, then that'll be fun to share.
Oh
Gotta,
yeah, absolutely.
got a shout out from. We got a shout out from. Is this Creatress? Got a shout out from Thry GM. And yeah, what up, Creatress? Love you, girl. Very exciting times. So yeah, we are going to be at Eat Denver. Super excited for that. And yeah, before we do our final thoughts, I wanted to allow our friend to share this. So I did pull up the session here, the culture. Yeah, tell us about your project here. I've got it pulled up.
There is a bottom in the center. There's an arrow. You can click on different pages. Oh yeah. So you can anyone with the link can kind of browse through the deck. Basically, it's been a journey. I was kind of curating a library of Chinese words that are kind of symmetry, and then kind of reinterpret into this surrealist poster. But then I start pushing it into this kind of poem generator. There's a lot of unused word that I want to start playing with, and why not come with a new ways to present it. So I starting building this. It's coming along, and hopefully I'll finish that by
This
May.
work is unbelievable. Info. I am obsessed with it. Please let me know when it drops, and hopefully it's not too expensive. The tank one is incredible. Oh my god.
That one is in it was in Amazon's curation
oh cool.
back in non-compliance about 6 months ago.
Yeah, I really love this. It's so creative. And I mean, see, like, this is bringing like your cultural background, your artistic background, your skills that I don't know if you're using AI, but if you are, you're applying your own take on it, and it's really powerful. And see, this is why like I'm just so not worried, like whatever. Like Zerebro does his own thing, and Info's got his own thing going on. We all have our own thing. The AIs can have their own thing too. So
Absolutely. So for anyone who didn't quite understand, I just want to highlight. So this project, it's generating a poem in Chinese, right? Generative poetry in Chinese through VR. How does that work for the?
If you scroll to the end of the slide, you have a better visualize what I'm trying to do.
Yeah, could you tell us though? So people are the screen is very small. So can you help people understand conceptually what this project is?
Conceptually, I want to see the word generated by bouncing on this Newton's cradle, but it's not, the traditional Newton's cradle is a circular one.
I'm sorry, can you tell people what is Newton's cradle?
Would you mind to scroll to the fourth slide? Yeah, I think that would have a better understanding on how I bake those tags in a circular ball, and it just kind of recreate the word based on I chose. So it's not randomly generating. It's a library of word that I chose, and it will just recombine. If you go to the next slide, it's like a personal generator where it helped me to brainstorm a combination of words. So the left poem is some of the one that I've already written, but I wanted some kind of tool to help me to be more efficient. So I built this tool, but it's a more fun ways to experience it, especially in VR. I want to see the LED light changes every time it bangs. I'm able to control the texture, the movement, or I'm able to use physics to bounce the ball in a way that I would never able to experience unless I build it in bits, right? Or in Atom, sorry.
Info, I want to live inside your brain for like just a day. I love it. I love it. I love it. It's amazing.
There's more. This is one of my collections. If you feel like browse around, go to my website InfoRemix.com. There's Nebula Cell, there's Let Go, there's Sound Money. That's why I love art. I don't take meds for my ADHD. I make art. That's the best way to enjoy this Tuesday morning with you guys. Oh, you're mute.
Maxximillian, we can't hear you, love. You are muted.
Yeah, I know. Sometimes the keyboard it doesn't press. Can you hear me?
Yes. Now.
Yeah. Okay. So it looks like you were sharing the next steps for your project, and before you do, let me just ask again. So what I was asking you, Info, is can you describe how a person would engage with your project? I understand why you created it, right? But is this a project that other people can buy, or how do you want people to engage with it?
I'm still experimenting it, but once I build it, I would love to kind of outsource this so people can create their own poem based on the branch of this creation. I think that'll be sick. If any poem that you guys generated I like, maybe I will make a special art for that piece. I don't know, but
So, so I'm trying to understand and help other people understand the experience. So can you walk us through how do we play with this? Do we put on the goggles? What do we do? What happens? Like I'm
I think
trying to,
the
yeah.
first prototype I would just use WebGL web base. Um, so anyone with browser able to swing around, grab the ball, bounce it. So that is the kind of first step that I want to take this to
So
the.
maybe with a mouse click, so someone could use their mouse to interact with the balls, and the movement of the balls would then influence the words that are showing up
Yeah.
that creates the generative poem. Cool. Very cool. Right on. That's really exciting. Yeah, thank you so much for sharing this. And
Sneak peek.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, keep us posted. This is really interesting. This is a perfect example of kind of what I'm talking about the integration of augmented reality with AI and how it can elevate like daily life. Because right now, a lot of us are using AI, but we're using it with a keyboard and we're using our desktop, our laptop, we're using a monitor. And so it's really fascinating the new ways that we're going to be able to engage with AI, to be able to physically interact with something and then to be instructing AI through a physical interaction. This is exactly the future that we're talking about. So very exciting times. Well, I want to thank everyone for hanging out and spending time with us. I want to allow our friend InfoRemix and also Fiona to highlight what's going on, what's coming in the coming weeks. Where are you going to be? What you got going on? Tell us anything that's interesting or exciting for you. Tell us where we can find you. InfoRemix, you go first. Now, InfoRemix is the guest, so he'll go first.
I'm just trying to consolidate my mind together. I think the next step is somehow use AI to help me to learn certain program, kind of break it down into bite-sized pieces, keep me engaged. Um, I think the best way to kind of make your own tutor in a way for cater my own learning. Um, I don't think I'm going to Eve Denver, but couple other NFT event I will definitely engage. Um, so stay tuned.
Right on. And if you want to learn more about his project, Let's Go, you can check out this QR code. Um, or you can also follow InfoRemix on x.com, and I hope you'll do that. But I always like to say, go to the artist directly. That's always best. So here it is, the QR. I'll leave it up there for just a few more minutes. And Fiona, what do you got going on this week?
Um, quick thing, info. If you wanted to join the AI thing, it is virtual as well as IRL. I'm doing IRL since I'm a noob, but you might be a little bit more technically inclined. I'm promoting this contest, this open call that I am calling on artists to join. Basically, it's this idea of inscribing histories, stories on the Bitcoin blockchain. It can be interpreted however you want it to be. Remember, it's about your intention and about your artist statement, about your why. And the metadata can always be inscribed as well. So, like, the art piece can be like something more abstract, but then the metadata can have like the juicy bits in it as well. So it's not just limited to like text-based story. It's called Inscribing Us. It's about this pushback against centralized powers to try to control what is shown, what is apparent, what is historically viable, what has occurred in history. Like, let's just undo all of the I hate how they call it wokeness. It's about having red blood. We have red blood. You have it, you have it, you have it, and my dog has it, but she's not here right now. I mean, okay, dogs aren't people. Okay, we've established that. But the idea is like we are all
Dogs are better
human.
than people. We
We
know
are
dogs
all
are better than
human.
people.
We all bleed red. Our skin tones may be different, but all the shit underneath it is the same. And we all have our own stories, and we all deserve the right to have those stories thrive, despite the fact that so and so is saying, you can't do this, you can't do that. Well, guess what? We got blockchain, bitch. So fuck off and enter my contest. You can win $400 if you're one of the winners. I have the most badass lineup. We have Maxximillian, Creatress, Chelsea Chung from World of Women, Anne Rung from Super Rare, Jenny Pepin from One Love Dao. Oh my god, I'm gonna forget someone. Rebecca Rose, Una, like just like literally like anybody that you've ever like said this is the most badass person in crypto, we have them all here in one place looking at your work. So you never know what's gonna come of that. And what else? So yeah, it's on my pinned tweet uh, on my X platform, and it's on all of the decentralized. I'm Fiona Aboud on all the decentralized social medias as well, and Instagram. So you can find it anywhere. The link is impactivism.art to submit. And thank you so much, Maxximillian. I love these containers that you create for us to just go hog wild with all of our ideas. And InfoRemix, your work is so badass. My mind is blown, and I'm a big fan. And I can't wait to create my own poem. And I'm gonna devote it to Maxximillian. I'm gonna say mermaid that likes the shiny objects and being tousled by waves into the juicy bits of the
I,
Bitcoin blockchain.
I don't know if like I don't know if the word like is
I'm
the
just
word
kidding.
I
I'm
would
just
use,
kidding.
but
I'm just kidding.
I
I'm just kidding. But anyway, thank you so much for having me. Wish me luck this week. My brain is like, woo,
Oh my
growing by
gosh.
the minute.
I wish you luck. Um, may you only inhabit spaces with plenty of room for your growing brain to expand without touching any other obstacles. May you constantly feel free for your ever expanding universe to just get bigger and bigger and bigger and to your own satisfaction. May you encounter no obstacle and just fucking up only, up, up, up only. Yeah. And a big shout out to our friend BitSavage. We know how it is. You have technical issues. Hey, you know what I'm saying? We from Los Angeles, we know how it is that all blocks are not created equal. Have great reception, poor reception, but the most important thing is it was wonderful to see you and hear you, even if it was intermittently or only for a few minutes. Your presence is always appreciated in the space. We really appreciate the work that you're doing with Adores, making it possible for people to put their art on Bitcoin on chain easily. That matters a lot because, as we talked about earlier, Bitcoin is still pretty nascent in terms of platform. And we've got a really interesting comment actually from Hartwell. And she says, as a video game designer, her first consideration in the past for any project has been platform. So, this is a really interesting time for artists as we are really embodying this whole thing about self-custody, and we're not even allowing platforms anymore to determine everything about our project. Because, platform first is really, you know, if it's platform first, the platform is actually in charge. I think this is something really to consider, like the how much as artists the platform that we use actually does influence the art that we create. It really does. So like I started creating on Ethereum. Now, in the beginning, the platform controlled my output because I didn't have endless funds to just, pour into this brand new art form that I was experimenting with. I remember the very first artwork I minted cost me $330 just to mint the first one. I didn't know if I was ever going to do this again. I didn't have a buyer, like on and on. It's crazy expensive. And then I felt like I was in jail. I felt like I couldn't, just, create, not like when I can create until I run out of canvases, then I can paint on the walls, and then I can paint on the ground, and then I can paint on the floor, and then I can paint on my body. It wasn't like that. I was limited by finances, um, you know, so with choosing that platform, right? Other platforms, the limitation may be audience, where the platform is affordable, but maybe the audience is not privy to that platform or they're not on that platform, which kind of makes me think of like in the early days when I minted on Polygon. I was like, oh, this is going to be great. Oh, the art is so much more affordable. Now, for collectors, they can just, they're not paying hundreds or thousands of dollars to mint, et cetera. But guess what? It was problematic too. Why? People weren't trying to collect art on Polygon. So once again, the platform was the limitation for me. The audience was limited to people who were paying attention to that platform. It wasn't possible for me to entice collectors on other platforms to that platform. So once again, the platform was king, right? Not the kind I like. So platform again ruled the day. So now here we are again, platform ruling the day. Because if we're minting on like, I love Base blockchain. I mean, Base is so amazing, right? Base uses Ethereum on the Base network. But guess what? We're not inscribing directly. We're still limited. Now this limitation, we're putting our art, we're pinning it using IPFS. So now we're using third-party tools. This is yet another limitation because now, the limitation now is time going into the future, right? We're limited going into the future. We're limited by a limit that we can't even see because we don't know how long will Pinata, IPFS, Arweave, how long will these third-party platforms that we're using for the art, how long into the future will they be alive? So once again, now we're limited by time. How can we get out of these limitations? Art on Bitcoin. Now we have another limitation though, the limitation being the size constraint. So my point is, you know, limitations, like everything in these lives that we're experiencing, everything, it's mimicking some other aspect of our ultimate reality. Of course, I've got to go wizard on you. I'm about to go full wizard. Why? 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 Because it's the nature of life. Birth and death and limitation is a part of the cycles of life. And we'll never, ever not have those limitations as long as we're in this physical life. It's a part of this reality. And the sooner that you can see it like a feature rather than a bug, the better off you'll be. My name is Maxximillian. Thank you so much for spending time with us. This show is called Art Simp. We be simping on this art. We're sympathetic to the art, to the artists, to the process, and to the many limitations that we have in creating, distributing, disseminating, and even explaining and exploring these things that are so dear to our heart. We spend today with our friends InfoRemix, Fiona Aboud, BitSavage, and our friends who joined us online, Hartwell, Bordo Saka, who sends his love from Paris. Bonjour, mon ami. And I want to thank Creatress, who's joining us also online, and all of our friends who joined. Nancy Kilmer, I want to give a shout out to you, my friend. And it's so good to see all of you. Thank you for spending time with us today. I hope you will follow and check out our friend InfoRemix. Follow Fiona Aboud. Find and follow Adore's platform where you can put your art on Bitcoin. Find and follow me. My name is Maxximillian. I look so forward to seeing you again on Friday, and you'll see us all again there soon. Take care.